In 2013, a franchise started that changed the world of B-movies. I am of course talking of Sharknado. Very recently I went and I watched all of the Sharknado movies, and it's 2 spin-off movies. But at the time of this recording, I have found out that there is actually another spin-off which was just released in December. I will attempt to find that other spin-off movie. What can I say about Sharknado that hasn't already been said? I looked into what the critics were saying, and the first 2 movies got mixed to positive reviews. It wasn't ridiculously bad reviews. The first movie didn't take itself too seriously, but they knew what they were. They knew it was a B movie. They knew it wasn't going to span a franchise that was going to have millions and millions and millions of dollars of a budget. But by the time they got to the 6th movie, it's called The Last Sharknado, It's About Time. That just shows that even they were getting annoyed with them. The first and second movies didn't take themselves too seriously. But after that is when they started to decide, we know what this is. It's fun. It's not supposed to be a movie that you go into and you come out thinking about things. You go in knowing what you're going to expect. There was no terrible points in any of the movie. I don't understand why the rest of the movies got such bad press. I mean, I am putting this out on the bad movies. These are definitely a movie that you put on not because you enjoy it. You put it on because this is ridiculous, and that's why you're watching it. After the first 2, they decided that a lot of what would be happening in the movies is just sort of parody of other franchises, other things that have been before. And because it's like a big disaster type movie, but it's ridiculous, a lot of the things work very well. And another thing was that they got people to come in, silly cameos from TV personalities from America that are big names over there. If you're watching them over here, you need to look who they are. It's I don't know who that is. Look them up. Alright, okay. The things that were happening just become more ridiculous, and it's they end up time travelling to try and stop the Sharknados from forming. And it's who knew that when this first movie came out that it was going to span another 5 sequels that would take them to time travel? There's no way that you could watch this first movie and go, oh yeah, they're going to end up time travelling in this franchise. There's nowhere else that it could have went, because it goes from normal, bit silly, even sillier, ridiculous, and then it's just, what else can we do? And time travelling is the way that they got round to closing off the circle so that it doesn't actually have to continue. The third movie ends with a cliffhanger that they wanted the audience to decide somebody's fate, whether they lived or died. And it's just ridiculous that they done a Simpsons, because the Simpsons done things like that. They voted whether you wanted somebody to live or die, and that's how they went with that, and it worked for them. They've made another 3 movies, but it goes on and on with even more ridiculous things happening. And the cast that they get in, they knew what they were making. They weren't making a massive, big budget blockbuster. They were going in to make a B movie, and they knew that that's what they were making. I mean, when you're getting in people like David Hasselhoff and Gary Busey, you know what you're going to get. You know that it's not going to be a serious movie. It's going to be fun, ridiculous, and insane. The franchise is actually a testament to Asylum Films, who released all of them. They really do know how to take a big budget movie, rewrite the script, and make it into a mockbuster. I mean, Sharknado is just one of the franchises that this production company have put out. Some of them are actually really good. One of them is called Avengers Grimm, and it's sort of a parody take on the superhero genre, but the movie itself is actually really, really good. It's got Lou Ferrigno in it, who played the original Hulk in the TV series, and it also stars Casper Van Dien from the Starship Troopers. Again, they don't make it to be like a big serious thing. They know what they're making, and you could tell they had a lot of fun making it. It received so many negative reviews, but it's not bad. I don't understand why it was getting the reviews that it did. So I would advise you to go and look for them. It's called Avengers Grimm, and the sequel's called Avengers Grimm Time Wars. It's sort of like a mashup between the Avengers and the TV show Once Upon a Time. Another thing that Asylum has brought out is Z Nation, the zombie TV show, which has mixed reviews, and I don't know how I feel about that, because it came out in 2014 and it ran till 2018. I enjoyed the show. I do enjoy zombie shows most of the time, same as zombie movies. The thing about that made this different from other zombie TV shows at the time, mainly The Walking Dead, was, again, it didn't take itself too seriously. The Walking Dead took itself very seriously because it was based on the comic, and that took itself seriously, and so the show was going to have to take itself seriously. Whereas with Z Nation, it didn't have to take itself too seriously. Went off on a bit of a tangent there, but it was relevant because I'm talking about the Asylum, who have released all these things, and they know what they're doing. It's not a big budget movie. They know that it's a small scale that they have. They've got a tiny budget, and they make these movies. Surprisingly, unlike the MCU, the DCU, and all these big budget movies who have the money and the time for the CGI to be perfected, these big companies over the past few years have been lacking in a lot of their CGI, whereas with these movies, they've got a limited budget, but they have decided that's not a problem. But that takes me back to Sharknado. They didn't have the biggest budget, they didn't have the biggest CGI budget, but they still managed to make it presentable enough as a movie. Before I give a rating on the overall Sharknado franchise, I'll talk a bit about two of the spin-offs. One of them I haven't seen yet, as it came out in December, and I didn't realise it came out until after I'd already watched them all. It's called Lavalantula. As you can imagine, it is about spiders made of lava. Now that stars Steve Guttenberg as an ageing actor who was portrayed a superhero in the past, and it's down to him to save Los Angeles. They get Michael Winslow and Marion Ramsey, who famously were in the Police Academy movies with Steve Guttenberg. Again, not a big budget movie. You've got in these great comedy actors who have been in another comedy franchise, except this time it's a bit different. It's more of a disaster type movie rather than your police buddy comedy things, which is what the Police Academy movies were. By the time they made this, they'd already made 3 of the Sharknado movies, so they knew not to take themselves too seriously, and they didn't take themselves seriously at all with these 2 movies. Overall, I would give L'Avalantula a watch because I enjoyed that more than I did the Sharknado movies. So, of this, I'd say that L'Avalantula probably gets about a 7 out of 10. I was brought up with the Police Academy movies, and it was like the nostalgia thing, seeing these people in a movie together in a different situation, but essentially just playing parodied versions of themselves. And that's what I enjoyed. Overall, the Sharknado movies, all 6 of them, were enjoyable enough to watch at least once or twice. It's not a movie that I could go back to like every 6 months or something and say, oh, I'm going to go watch them. It's not that type of movie. It's something that you could put on if you're wanting to watch something but you're not really wanting to pay too much attention to it. But it will suck you in. You'll go, why am I sitting watching this? The first 2 take themselves a bit seriously, like I said. But after that, that's when the hilarity ensues, because they know that it's not a sort of mockbuster. They know it's a parody movie. And essentially, the last 4 movies are parodies of themselves. So overall, I'd give them about 5.5 out of 10, just because of the amount of work that everybody put into these movies. Would I say that they're bad movies? Probably not. Were they enjoyable? Yes. Was it worth having 6 of them? To quote the name of Sharknado 3, oh hell no. There should not have been 6 Sharknado movies. But we've got them. Go watch them. If you don't enjoy them, let me know. I'll argue with you in the comments, and we can have a laugh about how terrible some of the dialogue was. Well, on that note, see ya.